Well, welcome back to another live stream, guys, on a Thursday today. Coming at you from Green Country, northeastern Oklahoma. Hope you guys are doing swell on this Thursday, wherever you guys are joining from. Speaking of that, let's see who is hopping in live today. Grace Community Assembly of God over down in Flower Mound, Texas. Thanks for hopping on. Nathan's in Conroe. What's up, Nathan? Good to have you on, man. We got Ricardo from Cali, and some other guys joining in too. We actually started off the live stream a little bit early today. I know I had said 11:30, but I needed to start a little early because I've got a consult that I have at 1, so I kind of forgot about that. And I want to have plenty of time to dive into these live streams because I think there's like almost 50 that have been submitted, and we're obviously not going to be able to get through all of those today. But if you're joining, if you're watching this later, there will be timestamps that you can hop around this live stream and get to where you want to go. So you can do that. For those of you who are here live, let's jump in the chat and help each other out as we do these live stream reviews, as we talk tech, just to do great things for God's glory, right? All right, who else we got joining us? Noah from Indianapolis. Justin from North Carolina. Awesome. Very cool. Mr. Fisher, where does everyone place song license info? You know, that seems like it's a hot topic debate. To be real honest, we don't do it. I'm a horrible person. Like live, we don't put anything on the screens. I know you're supposed to. We used to always do like a post-service slide that would roll after the service and have the info for each song on there. But then I've also heard from other people, that's not actually good enough. That's not legal. You're not supposed to do that. And so, you know, most people I think do it at the very beginning or end of the song on the slide. We don't do it. I'm sorry. I'm a horrible example. So you guys chime in the chat and let them know where you put the license info. The great thing with the licensing stuff that I'm super excited about is the auto reporting that's coming to more and more things. You know, Loop Community now has it. What else is out there? There's a couple others. I think Presenter by Worship Tools. They've got it enabled now. So surely it won't be long before Planning Center comes along and has auto reporting for us. That, I mean, it's already all in there. The CCLI stuff, the numbers, it's already associated. Like, I don't understand why it's so hard, why we have to actually have somebody manually reporting these things, you know, every quarter. So I want guys who are writing songs to get paid too. So I think that would be amazing. Like, we just need Planning Center or Pro Presenter, but really Planning Center for me. I think most people, that way, no matter what presentation software you're using, it's getting it for the kids stuff, for, you know, all the different services. So, yeah, I mean, if you use the black bar preset that I have for my lyric stuff, you know, Red Rocks does it at the top underneath the title of the song on that very beginning. That's something you could look into doing. So we got some other opinions, other thoughts there in the comments on, you know, doing the licensing display stuff. So take that for what it's worth. Thank you guys for hopping on the live stream. I just love getting to do these. It's been a couple weeks since we did one of these, and hopefully you're a subscriber to the channel. If not, then you'll have to subscribe for at least 1 minute to join in the chat today. And I'm getting really close to 6,000 subscribers. My goal for this year was to get to 10,000. I don't know that we're going to get there, but if you're not subscribed and you're joining this, hop on there. Just hit that little button, subscribe, and then you can jump in the chat with us. Since the last live stream, I think there's been a couple cool videos that I've put out. Hopefully they've added value to your life as a worship and tech guy. A couple of videos ago, I talked about how tethered I am here. The Axun Cine Quad whatever view thing. This is a wireless HDMI CineView Quad. And it was interesting. This came for us at the perfect time. They reached out to me and asked if I would review this because I'm one of those guys who's played around with a bunch of these budget ones to get wireless video. And actually, our Teradek Ace, or not Ace 500, the Teradek Spark 4K started having issues. So it's actually out for repair right now, the one we use on our cable cam. And that thing has been super solid. And I was surprised by the latency. It's only like 549, I think. So look at that video that I put out a couple weeks ago. Or it wasn't even a couple weeks, last week, I think. If you're interested in budget wireless video, it's not zero latency, but it's good. It's pretty good for certain stuff. And then if you got an hour to kill after this, hop on there and watch that church tech tour that I just released a couple days ago for North.Church. They have awesome tech, and they're not this mega church. Maybe they technically are classified as one, but I don't consider them like a mega church. I mean, their worship center only seats like 450, but the way they're using tech is pretty cool. I really appreciate the guys and gals there sharing their expertise. I learned so much, and I think you can learn something from that 1 hour, surely. And then speaking of .church, I tried to get that .church domain as soon as they came out for us. I wanted central.church so bad, but some other church beat me to it. I feel like, if I remember right, I was up at midnight, like waiting, because I feel like, was it Life Church was kind of involved in that, Life.Church, getting that domain. Either way, domain names, I'm not sure how important they are anymore. Everybody just searches for stuff whenever you're looking for a business. I mean, I don't remember the last time I typed in somebody's domain name, so it's probably more about just making sure you show up in Google. But Ethan, man, thank you so much. He says, thank you for everything you do to help us from Chickamauga, Georgia. Chickamauga? I grew up in a town called Chickasha, and we were the Fighting Chicks, was our mascot. 2002 state champions, 5A baseball. Thank you. So I don't know. Hopefully you are something that has to do with chickens in your mascot. I don't know. We got made fun of a lot. A lot of KFC hats and stuff at our games from the opposing teams. So Harry says, great to be able to join from the UK. Awesome, man. I love it whenever I see people hopping on from all around the world. It's so cool. Tech news. Let's talk new stuff that I've seen in the last week or two. Is there anything interesting that you have seen that you're like, maybe I should implement that in our church's media stuff? Let's see if I can hop over here. I came across this mechanical keyboard for Mac. And if you're like me, a good keyboard for your Macs it seems a little hard to find, and maybe that's just me, because the default ones that come with it are those like tiny little Bluetooth ones that I always have trouble with them disconnecting. And I am very much opposed to anything being wireless on our presentation computers. And so we actually still use a really old big keyboard from like Apple days gone by. And it reminds me of these very tactile keyboards. And I think that's, we don't need the soundtrack, but this is a keyboard from Logitech that's got more of that tactile feel. I forget what people call these mechanical keyboards. Yeah. It's got light up stuff as well, which is helpful because the old ones that I'm using, it doesn't have any backlit keys or anything. And it's got the full row of the F keys. So like if you're using custom clear commands, I like to assign those to the F keys up here, at the top. Like ours is F12 is like clear everything but our announcement loop. You could use that. Now it's $150, and the Apple keyboards are cheaper than that, but they're not cheap either. What are they? $75-$80 maybe. So it's Logitech MX. If you're looking for something, you could look into that. You guys found any budget style mechanical keyboards that worked for Mac that you'd recommend? It's not something I really looked for, but I just, the algorithm fed me this video for the Logitech. Maybe it was even like an Instagram ad. I don't know, but interesting. That's a good question there. So that was some church tech that I think, could be interesting for some guys, especially people running, ProPresenter, things like that with your keyboard. Something I want to get y'all's opinion on as well, and then keep putting questions down in the chat, and we'll get to those in just a minute. Has anybody else out there utilized SpringTree for your house lights? These spatial pendants, these these flats that they've had out for a few years now. They are super tempting. I have heard mixed reviews just in the church media spaces. Even people going as far as saying like, these aren't like UL listed, or they're not whatever certified. I don't know about all that, but for the price, they seem pretty tempting. And what these are is that you can replace your house lights with these LED. They're just, let me see if I can find these. All they are is like a little LED board right here that's put inside a canister. Now, the downside to these, and let me know if you have other experiences, is that every light has to be a home run back to one of these brains in a closet. So you can't daisy chain. You can't daisy chain each light to the next one like you typically would for a group of them. As far as I know, I may be wrong on that. But in order to have control of each light, you're going to have to home run five wire all the way back. So the great thing is that they're RGBW. They have these 50 watt flats that you could, I was thinking about like replacing the house lights that we have possibly with these, because, you can get that translation of the full look of the color of that you're using on stage to kind of wash out over to your audience and just make it a more immersive feeling to connect the audience without bringing all the house lights up. And so these are RGBW. They're $119 a piece. I was doing the math, so we have like 60 lights in our worship center that we'd have to replace with these because we would need the 50 watts as high as our ceiling is. So, we're looking at $6,000 for the lights, and then we'd need probably 3 of those brains, and they're $1,200 a piece. So, around $10,000 for new house lighting, plus labor, unless we did it all ourselves, which you can. This is all low voltage. It's just almost similar to LED tape. But anybody use the SpringTree stuff? So Justin says, if you can't daisy chain, it'd be a no on those lights. Yeah, for spaces as big as like your main worship center, that's been one of my hesitations, because that would be a lot of wiring going back. For like our youth space that's just across the hall from me, we only installed, I think, 16 lights in there because it's not as big, and maybe that's a better like use case for it. But they do, I mean, you can see like this picture right here. They why can't I click on it? I don't know, it won't let me. They do big spaces. So but I do have a friend that installed these in his church and talked to him yesterday, and he's been really, really happy with them. So maybe that's a video down the road that maybe I could go down and just do like a little review video with him talking about them. And if that's something that would be interesting to you, I feel like house lighting is just one of those things that we overlook a lot of times, but we can get wrong really easily if we're not really thinking through it. So yeah, some good thoughts here. Let's answer this question. And I really don't know the answer, but Harry says, what do you think about YouTube paywalling 4K? Do you think 4K matters for church streams? So I know nothing about YouTube paywalling 4K. So what you're saying, Harry, is that live streaming in 4K, you have to pay for that ability. That's surprising to me. We'll see how long that lasts. I think in the future, 4K streaming is maybe in the next 2 or 3 years, it's going to become more just normal. So I would be surprised if that sticks. But maybe that I could see that being like a subscriber count thing. Like once you reach 1,000 subscribers, you can stream in 4K, maybe things like that. But I really don't think streaming in 4K matters much at all right now. I would say at least half of our audience is watching on their phones. And when I've surveyed our congregation about, do you ever change the settings on the live stream to select HD? There was like 3 people that do it. So most people end up watching it in like 480p anyways, because they just don't know any better. Now, you can always record in 4K and then upload that later, I guess, if 4K is going to be important to us. But right now, no, I'm not worried about 4K. I'm not even really worried about our infrastructure as far as like our streaming devices and our switchers being 4K compatible. Tech changes so quickly that I think that it's probably going to still be a couple years before 4K streaming is like the norm. And it's going to cause a lot of other dominoes to fall in your setups, right? Cameras have to output 4K. You have to have the right cabling to be able to send 4K data those distances. Your wireless transmitters have to be 4K compatible. So I definitely think it's a very low priority. It should be for most of our churches. There's so many other things we need to do to get things right before we stream in 4K. So okay, interesting comments here. Thanks, guys. Yeah. Other tech that I've seen that came out, which let me get rid of these that we already talked about. Spatial flats. So I saw this video come out a couple days ago from Strymon, their first plugin, I believe, for one of their pedals that they've released. They've released the Big Sky plugin, which if you know anything about reverbs, the Big Sky is like pretty amazing, has some great sounds. And for people, the reason that I think this could be interesting is for people that are mixing in a box. You could maybe try this plugin out, and you have a 7-day free trial right here. It is $199, I think, for the plugin. So I don't know that it makes a ton of sense, because that's like buying Logic Pro for most of us, you know. But you could try to, if you're a bigger church and you're mixing in a box and you want to add some extra flavors to your stuff. I mean, they're couching
gorgeous.
it as being able to use on vocals, on drums.
You can move me to forget.
And I mean, I love the Big Sky sound for sure. Now, will the normal person watching your stream know that it's a Big Sky plugin? No, they're not going to know that. But it's just another thing that I saw. It's interesting that one of these guitar pedals now are kind of moving their stuff into plugins. Maybe eventually these will come down in price to where they're more accessible. So it's just another interesting thing I saw. And before we press on into our live stream reviews, I do want to just give a little channel shout out for one of my friends, a new friend that I've made, Spencer over at Lead Worship Well. If you guys are not subscribed to Spencer, I encourage you to hop over there today to his YouTube channel, Leading Worship Well. Sorry, I said Lead Worship Well. It's Leading Worship Well. And so he's got great content. He's much more focused on like the practical side. Well, there we go. Practical worship leading tips to help you lead worship well. So just talking through those tough questions. And just yesterday, he put out a video where he sent me a question saying like, hey, will you answer this question? And the question I got was like, what do you do with people who are trying out that really just musically or skill-wise are not there? It's not like a heart thing. It's not a character thing. How do you navigate those conversations? So I got to chime in on that one. I don't know how great it was, but I sent him a response. So hop over there and subscribe to him if you're not. I mean, he's already got 27K, so you guys are probably subscribed. He's been at this for a while, but yeah, you should check him out. But I think we should go ahead and hop into the live stream reviews. So let's do this. I'm going to search for Mr. Robert here, and then we'll get going. And guys, as we're going through these, I really do just encourage you to chime in the chat. Just remember, I can be bought. So if you super chat, that does move you to the front of the line. And that will get you up there. So Robert, let's get you up there on the live stream reviews. New Life Church. We got the link there. Good. He gave us some info. Let's see if I can zoom in here. so you guys can kind of see this with me. This is his setup. Cam 1 head to toe. They've got an Ursa Broadcast G2, sweet camera, with a nice Canon lens and an extender. Then they've got a Panasonic AG CX350. I don't know what that is. I'm assuming that's more like a camcorder style. They have a wireless camera, Blackmagic Pocket 6K, Sigma 35, Teradek Spark 4K. So they got some really good stuff. The GoPro Hero 8, we'll be interested to see what that looks like going on the drum cam. Then they have the ATEM 1ME. Let's see how you're doing your audio. They got a PreSonus Studio Live 32 mixed matrix with a majority of channels running on post fade. Okay. Then they do have a computer running universal control. One channel is pre-fade for the crowd mics. Okay, awesome. And he wants the most help on audio mix, which is great because I feel like that's something you guys can hear as long as you've gone and selected high quality on your YouTube stream. You know, don't be listening 360p, guys. This is 1080. So let's pull it up here. New Life. Volume's all the way up. We got 238 left.
Candy Palooza.
Hey, we have Candy Palooza.
Kids to invite. We are going to get started with worshiping God by singing some songs. So
5,
join along with
4. I like your
online
ticker
today
from Pro.
as
That's
we
cool.
Worship.
Well, good morning, New Life. How's everybody doing this morning? All right, put your hands together. Here we go.
That's good. I like that it was like we're going right into this, right out of that countdown. We're fired up. I like the side stage
For
song.
every battle you've won without question, for every lie that you silenced with love, we acknowledge you in every victory, Almighty God. For every promise you kept in the valley, for every burden you lifted with ease, we are gathered with great expectation, and Lord, we believe. Here we go. You never cease to amaze us, all of the praises.
So Robert, on your audio, I'm curious on the location of your audience mics. Is your room pretty live or is it pretty dead? I feel like I'm hearing like the room, but it's not like a super pleasant, like I'm not hearing the audience. And so it's that fine balance of like, I've heard of some people even doing like these like sidechain compression thing on your audience mic somehow, where like when things are softer, the audience mics will actually come up when you want to hear a little more of the audience, but then once the band kicks in a little more, it brings them down a little bit. So I'm just curious, where are the audience mics located? Whoops, spotlight search. No, go away.
Lord, they belong to you. Jesus, receive all the glory. Take all the credit for what you're about to do. Every good thing comes from you, yeah. For every season.
So like for that instance, if you listen to those drums, I'm hearing the drums in the room almost more than I am the direct miking of those drums. So like if I go back and just listen to that drum fill, listen.
Comes from you, yeah. For every.
So, you know, and those looked caged to me.
Comes from you, yeah.
So they are caged and mic'd. If you're doing a separate mix and everything on a different matrix, you should be able to pump those drums up. Kick and snare need to be just the foundation of your mix. I feel like that's keeping it all glued together there. It's pretty vocal heavy in my opinion. It's not the worst thing in the world for it to be vocal heavy. It's better than the opposite of like not being able to hear the vocals. So that's a good thing. But your band seems super solid. Let's just listen for just a little bit more here.
For every season that showed us your sovereign, for every trial that taught us to trust, we are standing right here in your purpose. You stand with us. You never cease to amaze us. All of the praises, Lord, they belong to you. Jesus, Jesus, receive all the glory.
I really like this camera shot right here. I think I don't remember which one you said this is. Maybe the Terra Deck one that's stationary. You can see some people worshiping out of focus. You can see the down the line shot. That's pretty sweet. Your lower thirds look solid. They're readable.
Take all the credit for what you're about to do. Every good thing comes from you.
I feel like I'm also hearing just a little bit of distortion in the overall mix, maybe, when he gets big.
Every good thing comes from you. Every good thing.
See what I mean right there?
Oh,
It's almost like it's clipping. I could be wrong.
every good thing. Oh, every good thing.
Yeah, so I would just say, audio-wise, you need to bring those drums up, make them have a little more life in the mix, more out front. I need to hear those, feel the kick, the snare, keeping everything right there where it needs to be. Your cameras look great. The Ursa G2 from your front shot looks really solid. I wish there was a little more life in the stream as far as like maybe a roaming cam. Like if I were you, I would take that Terra Deck unit with the Pocket 6K and just stick somebody out there in the room walking around on a monopod. Be careful because, the 6K I don't think has any stabilization or anything. So make sure your lens is stabilized. But just to give a little more uniqueness to the shots, because you're bouncing around between these 4 shots. This one, tight, medium, side drum. And that Hero, the Hero 8, it may just be the lighting inside that drum cage. A lot of times that's problematic because the drum cages are hard to light. And so then you stick a cheaper camera in there that can't do as well. And it seems like I always hesitate to talk about the coloring because I'm watching on a 4K TV, so it's not the best color representation. But those purples and stuff in there that you're washing the drummer with seem a little oversaturated and stuff. So I like the vibe though. Thanks for submitting. I really appreciate it. But hold the phones, everybody, because we got a super chat. RJ in the house with the big $2. $2. All right, let's find you. Let's find you, RJ. What church are you with, RJ? That might help me out as well. And we'll hop over and find you. Although I think I can organize by name. I'm getting better at figuring out Google Forms. So if I go to question and I organize by your name, then I can find you. So let's go down to the bottom because usually people that super chat are late in the game as far as submitting. And then they're like, well, I'll just super chat and get up to the front. But I'm not seeing you unless, do I need to go this way? Let's keep going. No, see, now it's your YouTube things. Just when I start bragging on myself about how smart I'm getting with Google Forms. Wait, what if I go RJ? Bam! Let's go. Gosh, guys, I'm so smart. Not really. You wouldn't know I was a media director person. First Baptist Church of Fairbury. Okay. An access wall cam. I'm not sure what that is. iPad on stage running Wirecast. Go. A camera on a tripod in the sound booth. iMac running Wirecast. Another iMac running ProPresenter tied to. So it's all into Wirecast. And I'm assuming that iPad Wirecast Go is like you're using the iPad's camera through like an app going into Wirecast. I'm not sure what Access Wall Cam is though. So let's look at RJ's stream and give him some feedback. And I didn't even look in the comments for that last one. Hopefully you guys gave some other thoughts as well. Okay. Volume's up. Volume's up. So I would just say, okay, we do have the slides going. Do you have any YouTube chapters? No, no YouTube chapters. Go back and put chapters on y'all's videos every time if you can. Not for me, for anyone that's coming to your video. Okay. Everybody's kind of just chilling, waiting on things to start, it looks like.
Lord, I thank you for today.
Opening prayer. All right.
When we see you, we find strength to face the day. In your presence, all our fears are washed away. Washed away.
The first thing I'm noticing, like, you're in HD, but it almost sounds to me like a bitrate thing happening in Wirecast, possibly. I'm hearing like the swirly audio kind of thing. I don't know if you guys heard that. That for me, I feel like usually is a bitrate thing. So what are you streaming at? Do you know what bitrate?
Hosanna, you are the God who saves us, worthy of all our praises. Hosanna.
This was the first song I ever led here at Central, was this song, Hosanna, Paul Beloche.
Hosanna, come have your way among us. We welcome you.
Well, we're staying on, if you only have 2 cameras, it's tough. You're staying on this one a long time. Tony, how do you insert the chapters? So you have to have 1,000 subscribers. I forgot to mention that. Other than that, you're just doing 0:00 dash start, and then after that you just do the same thing for each time. You can check any of my videos that I have chapters in, any other videos that you see chapters in, look in the description, you'll see that.
Here, Lord Jesus, hear the sound.
So you're running 2997 RJ, but like the streaming encoding part of it, you know, are you at 5,000 kilobytes per second? That kind of thing. I mean, this shot, if that's an iPad, that doesn't look bad. There we go. Hey, this must be your wall cam. I would say you're doing 4 lines on the screen and 4 lines on the stream. I would maybe look at, if you're using ProPresenter, doing it where it splits it and you don't have 4 lines on the stream. There's videos out there that'll teach you if you look on Renewed Visions, if you're using ProPresenter. Just because I feel like more than 2 lines feels pretty busy on screen. This shot right here, if you're gonna have this shot a ton, it's really focused on that first left singer. And if he's not like your lead worship pastor, it feels a little awkward for him to kind of be the focus of that shot. Also, there's a lot of headroom in this shot. I don't know if that's you're trying to show the cross, but if you only have 2 shots, usually I like to stick with a wider shot and then like a medium tight shot on your pastor, different things like that. Let's just scrub forward and see what other kind of shots they have. So this other wall cam, it looks like they can do some of that because this is a tighter one now. And this, I assume this is that same camera, RJ. So like you're here and then you are here. It must not be. There must be 2 separate cams. So why are we not using this camera some during worship and stuff? I like your lower third there. That looks good. So those are some initial thoughts. Audio-wise, let's just listen for just another minute. Let's go back to where they were doing the band style.
Come have your way among us. We welcome you here, Lord Jesus.
So if it were me, we had V drums for a long time. I would look into maybe choosing a different snare for that kit. It feels very like slappy high end. It has a little too much like top end for me. It kind of pokes out in the mix a little too much. So maybe try a different snare. And it's pretty vocal heavy. I don't see that you have an electric guitarist or anything. So you got some keys, some acoustics. So, you're doing what you can there. Sounds like somebody's playing some pads. I'm not sure on that synth sound, if that's what I would go with, but those are some of my thoughts. So hopefully that helps. And last time I didn't delete that our first stream, and I always do that. And then let's go ahead and get rid of this one, okay? Or else I'll accidentally review it again. But hold the phones, because we got another super chat. Let's go, Bethel Full Gospel. All right, Bethel, let's find you. I think you were next in line. Hopefully I didn't skip somebody. Yeah, so they're next in line. Chili's, I haven't forgotten about you. So you're coming. But let's find Bethel Full Gospel. And did you guys have any thoughts that I forgot to put out there on that last stream? Oh, Robert says that you don't need 1,000 subs to do the chapters. Maybe there is a different limit, because I had a client just this week that we posted a video on his new YouTube channel, and you couldn't do chapters. So, and from my research, it said you needed 1,000, but maybe that's changed, and that would be great. So let's go back and search for Bethel. Bethel. Oh, wait, I'm on name, not church name. Guys, I'm just really good at this. See? This is so much better than me scrolling through a million responses. Maddie, thanks for submitting. Their setup is some Panasonic UX180s, which are all manned. Okay, so they probably got center and left and right, I would assume, if you're doing that. GoPro Hero 7 Black for onstage POV shots. And then the good old TV Studio Pro HD, that's what we got. Using Resi for streaming. And Matt wants the most help on directing. So we can talk a little bit about that kind of stuff. This is Bethel Full Gospel. Here we go. I would be careful, as I always say, about streaming actual songs by people like this, that might have just been right before this countdown started. Okay, but even that much, that may get you flagged, so just be careful. Be careful with that. So use a Soundstripe or something like that for your pre-service music if you have to.
Good morning, church.
I like that. Great transition right out of the countdown. Here we go.
Let's stand up. Let's worship the Lord this morning.
I also like that you started on a pretty wide shot. I don't know if this is your widest. You said you have 1, 2, and 3. So I'm assuming this is your left UX 180, but at least it does show kind of a little bit of an establishing shot there.
Good morning, church. Let's stand up. Let's worship the Lord this morning. Welcome him here.
All right, so now, as a director, I'm always telling my guys, yes, as soon as I'm talking at the intro of the service, come to me. Then a lot of times on these songs, you have like a little intro time. Any instrumental stuff, like I'm always trying to harp on my guys, go to the electric guitarist, go to the drummer, something like that. Go to that GoPro that you have on stage, because I hate it whenever I'm just like, and they have a close-up of me and I'm like not really like doing anything. I'm just waiting for the song to start. There you go. All right, cut over to keys.
Sing just one word.
I was like, what is that person doing in the background? They're like putting resin or something on their bow. But at first I was like, what is happening?
Just one word. You calm the storm that surrounds me.
A little verby. I like it.
Just one word. The darkness has to retreat.
Yeah. Okay, so you got your 3-man cameras. They're doing slow pans, slow pullouts.
Just one touch, I feel the presence of heaven. Just one touch.
Y'all hear that verb on the snare? Listen to that.
My eyes are open to see my heart.
That might be a little much on the snare verb. I don't know. But for this part of the song, it's okay.
Can't help but believe there's no
I guess it could have been in the tracks too.
Oh, praise the name that makes a way. There's nothing that our God can't do.
I mean, I am delaying 2 frames here to match up my voice with the camera here, so that everything you're seeing is a little delayed. But this, I'm wondering about this drum cam. It's hard to see when he was hitting that snare. Maybe it was okay. That's something else with those GoPros that I've heard, you know, is like if you're using those UX 180s, they may not have latency like the GoPro does.
Just one word, and you revive every dream. Just one touch, I feel the power of heaven. Just one touch, my eyes are open to see my heart.
I mean, I like what you're doing with the 3 cams that you have. You know, you're utilizing your guys on them and keeping it interesting and moving. The sound sounds great. They all match really well, which they should. They're the same camera. Here's another better shot of the drums. Let's look at it.
Nothing that our God can't do.
It's probably just my end. It may not be anything.
Nothing he can't do.
There you go. I like that on that break, you're kind of coming out on a wider.
I will believe for greater things. There's no power like the power of Jesus. Let faith arise. Let all agree. There's no power like the power of Jesus. I will believe for greater things.
Where's your electric guitarist, though? I mean, the bass, drums, acoustic. I mean, as the the violin player started playing, maybe that's kind of your electric guitar style.
Will believe for greater things. There's no power like the power of Jesus. Let faith arise. Let all agree. There's no power like his power. There's nothing that our God can.
I mean, if that were me, I'd be, you know, trying to think of like that drum swelling in and then right on the punch going to something else. But those are little details. Yeah, I was just thinking I'm not hearing much of them like that melodic instrument carrying stuff besides the piano. Got a lot of rhythm, a lot of bass, acoustic, drums. Those are keeping it down cool. But if you are running tracks to fill some of that stuff out, you might boost those a little bit. But what do you got? Oh, no electric that week. Okay. Some rhythm tracks in Ableton. That makes sense. Yeah. Let's go to another song and just see if it's a different flavor. Oh, you got the lid. So I would start on a shot like that. Like this would be my opening shot probably coming into the service.
Better than you, there's nothing. Better than, lift that up, there's nothing. Nothing is better than you.
I mean, I love the slider cam that we have on our drums. I think that could be something that could help you out in this situation because all of your other cameras are moving all the time. It seems like pretty much you kind of are doing slow movements. So if that drum camera was on, you know, a 48-inch slider that I recommend, look on my channel. You can just search slider and you'll find all my videos about it and links to it. Thanks for using the links in my descriptions, guys. You don't know how much that helps. Things like, you know, having to pay for car repairs and tires and things that happen out of the blue that you're like, it's so nice that like God's providing through just a simple link in a description of one of my YouTube videos. So you don't know how much that helps. But yeah, check out the slider. I think that's something that could help your stream even a little bit more, just to add motion to that. So if you guys have any other thoughts, drop those in the comments. For the white panel design, I'm not sure what you mean. Looking at getting wireless roaming cam soon. GoPros are temporary. Okay, awesome. Well, thanks again there for submitting that one. And let's go to our next super chat. Molotov. I'm a little scared. Aylberg City. Okay, you know, guys, it's always a risk whenever I do this without. I've never looked at any of these. So one of these days, my pastor or somebody's going to think they're funny and do something really inappropriate, or I'll get rickrolled. So let's find this one. While we're doing that, how do I do this? Where's my poll? 41 votes on how's Christmas planning going. 48% haven't started really. Fully planned is only 12%. 39% of you are about, oh, we're halfway there. And we're all kind of living on a prayer at this point, right? So let's see if I can find AALB Borg. There it is. We got it. Oh, guys, I'm getting so good at this. Morton. Their setup is 6 cameras. Okay, they're from Denmark. Very cool. They got Ursa Broadcast G2s, EF lenses, roaming and close-ups. They've got a good setup here. Blackmagic Micro studio cameras on the close-ups on the drums and keys. I don't know what the JVC Pro 750 is. I know what the Canon XA10 is. That's an older, just little small camcorder for their safe shot. They got the 2ME and a wing for broadcast audio. I wonder if that's separate audio wing, or if they're using the wing as front of house and your broadcast. So, but he wants the most help on directing. So let's look at Morton's stream here.
Det er fordi, at gavemøgten måske ikke er helt ens. Jeg har i
Little
hvert fald også
welcome
siddet til
time
de
here.
andre prædikener og tænkt, det er faktisk, han kunne næsten lige så godt stå og sige,
at
Joachim er. Og samtidig kan jeg sidde og tænke, lige nu så bliver der bare talt lige præcis som Christina er. På den
Whatever you wanna do, I'm moving forward.
All right, volume's up.
Follow after you.
I guess I should go back to the beginning if I
Now
can
I'm
find it.
ready for what
I like to kind of see how their services start.
Indtil vi også får i hvert fald.
Ja, og så kan
Pre-service,
måske lige skrive en
post-service.
hilsen også til alle dem, der sidder med herude. Skriv godt under prædiken, bedste syn på en anden.
There we go.
Vi ses.
Ja, vi gør.
Godmorgen, Aalborg City Kirke. Skal vi ikke rejse os op, så skal vi til at synge lovsang sammen.
Okay, kind of vamping there at the intro. There we go. These are the micro studio cams there, I think. Looks like he's running Ableton. So I mean, compared to the one we just came from with Bethel, you can kind of hear how the vocals sound a little more dry. In my opinion, it's just a personal taste, guys. You can do whatever you want. I like a little more verby vocal for the live stream just because I want it to feel live. I don't want it to feel like a studio album kind of thing. So if you don't have, you know, a big audience in the room, like really helping that translate, adding a little more verb on there can help. Okay, we'll zoom in here. Oh, there it comes. I feel like verb's coming on now a little bit. I will say your overall volume of the mix could come up a little bit, it seems like, just looking at my meters. So I don't know if you're using the built-in limiter on the wing, or I don't know if they had the precision limiter type thing on there still on the wing, but that might help just get that final mix up. It's not much. This is a tough shot as well. You know, when you got these panels, the acrylic panels, and you do have some movement going on there on a slider, it looks like. I like that you can see the people worshiping and the congregation through it on the other side. I prefer that rather than showing like the black curtain behind him. So unless you just have a super wide angle lens, I mean, I don't know how you get around this. It's tough. That's a great looking camera out there. Okay, down the line. I mean, the Ursa G2s, they look really good. And your key lighting here is spot on. I love the backlight, hair light that you've got going on your lead vocalists here up front on your front line. See how even like her acoustic guitar headstock has that little bit of blue, but on her face, it's the right color temperature still. And that's super solid. I mean, same thing for her. So do you know what lights you're lighting people's faces with? Because, you know, you're getting a really good look on camera with these G2s, and you're not overpowering them with all the other color going on. Even her, she has a different skin tone, but still really solid. So, you know, what color temperature are you white balancing to with your lights and things like that? I'm just curious. So it's like I almost prefer this angle on the drums because that panel right in the middle up close is a little distracting whenever it's over there. So you might even try moving the slider to where it's more behind. And I'm curious on directing, since you asked about directing, it looked like you are doing... See, you've got the iMag up there on the side screens, and it appears to me that it's the same feed. It's not a separate mix going on. So that can be limiting sometimes, what I found with churches that are doing iMag, because you hesitate to do anything that's a wider shot because it's image magnification. It's supposed to be up closer shots. So it doesn't always translate as well on your broadcast. So I don't remember if you said you were running a 2ME or a 1ME. You have the 2ME 4K switcher. So could you do a separate mix for, you know, one for broadcast one? And then that would take two different directors and all those things. I've never done that. I don't really know how that works and all the details with that. It's just a thought. So... So I think you're doing a really good job. Even directing, the pacing of this song seems spot on. It's for what you got going on. I think you're doing a really good job. I just wonder about the iMag and how that affects your directing and choosing different shots and things like that. I like your font that you're using, all caps. I wonder what font that is that you're using for your lower thirds. I can't peg what I think that is. Do you know what font you're using for your lower thirds? It's chunky. It's legible. I like it. So I think you're doing a good job. Let's look at your pastor preach moment and just see what that looks like. And you're probably doing iMag in the room for this as well.
Når han underviste, han sagde, okay, det her, det ligesom for dem, der nysgerrige.
So now I would actually say during preach time, I would lower your hair lights and your backlights because I think it can actually end up being a little distracting come preach time or speaking time to have that strong of a hair light on your main speaker. So I would just maybe bring that down or make it a warmer. hair light to kind of accent. You do need it for separation off that black background. That is good. It's separating him, but it's a little glowy almost. And
Dem, som gerne vil vide lidt mere, og så dem, der ligesom er viderekommende kristne, eller viderekommende disciple, I kan lige vente herover indtil jeg er færdig. Nej, han talte til alle mennesker på samme tid. På samme tid talte Jesus.
And I also, this is something I'm trying to think through, is I almost want a little more crowd, audience, liveness of the room come preach time. You want the clarity of the voice for sure. But at North Church, one of the things they do is he worked with his pastor, and they have a separate scene file that he goes through on the cue list. And come preach time, when he goes to that, it's changing the audience mic levels to the appropriate levels to give a little more life in the room. You know, you hear a little more laugh. You hear, of course, you're going to hear more coughing and sneezing and babies crying too. So you kind of have to balance that. But
Så hvis han kunne det, må der også være en måde for os at samle folk på.
Okay, so now you're doing a separate, see, because there he's preaching on screen. Maybe you've already commented. Same while worship, different for preaching. Okay, that's smart. But so you can do it. It's just a thought I had. But because I notice here he's up close. Obviously, you want that close up. So love that shot, that medium shot with the screen and the LED bars and stuff. Love this one on the side profile, showing your people there with your super fancy $1,500 podium. I forget what those are called, but those are all the rage. They may even be more than that. You could only get them out of Australia for a while. Okay, so here he doesn't look as glowy to me. I don't know. So take everything I say with a grain of salt. I'm spending 5 minutes looking at your live stream. So just spouting off thoughts, you know. So I think you guys are doing a great job. So I applaud you. I give you the props. Very good. Solid live stream there. Solid. All right, guys. Did I miss anything in the chat here? Just going to take a minute and look through this. Okay, well, I'm going to look for Grace Community Assembly of God next for our live stream reviews. Let's check out Grace Community. First, I need to delete you. You are. Bye-bye. Grace. Uh-oh. Can y'all hear that? What have I done? Am I not? Oh, I'm in the wrong spot. Okay, here we go. Not Grace Baptist. Grace Community Assembly of God. Yeah, there we go. All right, let's look here for Dustin. What's your details? Here are the deets. They got a 2-camera system. Both are Canon camcorders. Our close-up shot in the better of the two compared to our Y shot. Okay, we do use the A10 Mini Pro to stream directly to YouTube. We also have 2 different Macs to play pre-service videos and run slides. So you have 2 cameras and 2 computers. I don't think, that surprises me that would be necessary. I don't know what presentation software you're using, but maybe that's the easiest workaround for you at this moment. Let's pull up their live stream. And he wants the most just help and thoughts on cameras, but he's only got 2. They got a little pre-service segment there. Looks like some video announcements maybe.
This Wednesday, Devin.
Yes.
Are you excited?
I'm pumped about it. It's going to be...
All right.
To your feet. Are you ready to testify of the Lord's goodness in your life this morning?
Grace, yeah, Assembly of God.
So good. He has been
All right,
so
volume up. Here we go.
And I believe
Whoa, that's volume all the way up.
Amen.
That's pretty quiet. I am. Volume all the way up, right? Yeah. So it's pretty quiet volume-wise, I would say.
Satan fall like lightning. I saw darkness run for cover. But the miracle that I just can't get over, my name is registered.
I mean, yeah, your close-up shot looks good. Looks solid on your main lead worship leader there.
Signs and wonders. I have resurrection power. Still the miracle that I just can't.
Let's see if we can find... Let's see if we can find the other camera shot. There we go. Okay, so let's just talk cameras for just a second. This one is the little bit up high. I call it the perch shot. It almost appears to me. I just prefer my wide shots to be a little bit lower. It's that fine balance of like, you don't want just like the backs of people's heads only. But, you know, right here you can see the people, but it almost appears like I'm like looking from the balcony-ish, maybe like up above the doors or something. It's fine for an establishing shot, but when you only have two cameras, I would prefer to get that camera down where it can be used as like move it around, zoom it in and out. If it's a Canon camcorder, put a LANC zoom handle on it and have somebody on it, you know? So you can do what you saw Bethel earlier in the stream doing. They have those 3 UX180s, and they had somebody on them that was just slowly panning, slowly pulling in and out on zooms just to make it more interesting. I mean, like you said, your close-up shot here, it looks solid. The white balance on it looks good. But, you know, this one, you can tell the dynamic range is not as good. And this should be like the shot that you go to just establish the room, but it's not like something I would go to over and over. So if you can you bring it down? Can you think through that? I don't know about the placement of the camera. So that would be one thing that I looked at, just camera wise. When you only have two cameras, at least you are, like I can see that you're moving between people with that other camera, trying to keep things a little interesting, showing the different people that are leading. Your close-up cams look great. Not a big fan of the big white boxed with the texture, you know, on it look, but that's just a personal preference. Because the font is like so small inside this big mega box. It feels weird to me, like ratio-wise. Audio-wise, let's listen and just give him some thoughts on audio, even though he didn't ask.
I have
She's got a good voice. I just, you know, bring that full stream mix up more. I wish your drums were a little more up front too, but also, do you have any audience mics going? Anything for the room? You know, if you don't, definitely think about including that. Okay, so let's just talk audio for just a minute. They say they run audio straight out of the soundboard. Any thoughts on a different approach? So I would say there's really three schools of thought on this. Well, 4, but I don't really count the first one because the fourth is what I would call what you're doing is just like sending your main send back out, splitting it off to, you know, your mixer. But that's not a different mix. That's just using your house mix. So step 1 or method 1 is what we use. And a lot of big churches use this too, is just creating a separate mix that's based on your house sound. So you would use a stereo pair, you know, aux or bus send, or use multiple buses that feed into a matrix, and then that gets sent out. The benefits of that is that you don't have to have a separate operator, and it's based on what's happening in the room, but it's a separate initial mix. meaning if someone brings up a guitar solo in the house, then it's going to actually go up in the stream. But you can have them start at different volumes. So I like that, especially for churches that don't have multiple operators. The next step beyond that would be to have a different soundboard in another location in your building and have somebody mixing on that, or using an iPad and doing a similar thing with that mix. You could do that. And then there's people that are really big into mixing using software, bringing your digital stuff into Logic or some other DAW and mixing with effects and all that stuff totally separately. So those are kind of your thoughts, your options there. So hopefully those are some helpful thoughts. And I do have videos on my channel that you can check out that I walk through how we do our broadcast mix. There's other guys on YouTube that also have great tips. Ascension Worship, I think is it Chad over there. He's got some great content on there. My buddies over at Collaborate Worship on YouTube that live here in the same town as me, Cade and Dylan, you can check out their channel. They've got a lot of great tips, especially if you run an X32 or an M32, that can help you out to kind of take that up to the next level. Step one, just make your mix louder. Put a limiter on it if you have a digital board, and just bring those levels up. You don't have to have a limiter. We didn't use a limiter for 3 years, and I just set the levels where I wanted them, So yeah, you can do that. But guess what? Elijah, super chat. You get the confetti and you get the live stream review. So let's look for Elijah's. I appreciate the super chat, guys. You guys are awesome. You don't have to do that, If you like chilies, that helps as well. So we're gonna delete this one. I can't see. My camera's in the way. Boop. Gosh. Now, if we're here, and we're going to search for Elijah up here. If I had like a co-host, they could be doing all this stuff. And then we could just be ready to go. But I'm not that fancy. Grace Baptist Church Student Ministry. All right, Elijah. Wired. They have an older model Canon camcorder up at the booth. Not sure exactly the model, but you'll be able to tell which one it is for the difference in the coloring. They also have a Logitech C920 webcam. Okay. Wireless Sony Handycam with Hollyland Mars 300. Uses a roamer, then put on a tripod for the sermon. Feeds directly into OBS. From the soundboard mix, no crowd mics. ProPresenter 7. Like feedback mainly on directing, but could use help with cameras. Webcam's not the best, but it's cheap. Just general feedback. So worship begins around 2640. Thank you. So we'll look around 2640. So this is unique. A student ministry that's doing live streaming. We've talked about that with our student ministry. We used to do that. And there's just positives and negatives to both sides of that. Not to be negatives, but just things to think through.
Worthy are you, O Lord, who created all things, and by you crowded in is to come.
Okay. Volume's all the way up for me again. Maybe it's me. It seems quiet though. We're up. So I'm definitely noticing, just looking at my meters and in my headphones, maybe you guys, if you're wearing headphones, you can tell it seems heavier in the left side. I like that you started on this wide shot. Show me where we're at. You must have your booth up in a loft area, maybe. I'm assuming this is maybe you said you had a wide shot back there. Okay. I like your lower thirds template that you're using. All right, the webcam was the first camera. That makes sense. Okay, wireless cam, second song says. So you're doing a little pull out, push around here. That's cool. I would say even on a cajon, usually you should be able to get that kick sound. Whenever I've used cajons, are you miking with a kick drum mic in the back of the cajon? There's usually a porthole, and that way you can get some of that punchierness. Punchierness? That's not a word. Oh, talking hard. You know what I'm saying. Now, I'm curious on your lyrics on stage, just on that projector, why your lyrics are so high and not centered on this song for that. And maybe it's not centered. Maybe you have like a tall projector and we're just cutting off the lyrics with the black. That's probably what we're doing, the black bars. Sorry, scratch that. So I like your little push in, pull outs that you're doing there with that. He said, we've got second song, we'll have the roamer. So let's push forward to that. Maybe we can see how those look. Mars 300, are you happy with the Mars 300? Has it been solid? I'm not a fan of the Mars cheaper stuff. I'm really not a fan of the Mars stuff. Okay. Yeah, I would just balance that audio out. Let's see if we can go ahead and go forward. So that wireless shot right here, I mean, yeah, you can tell it's, you said it's, what is it, Elijah? Sony Handycam. You know, it's funny, you got the Mars wireless stuff, which was probably what, 300, 400 bucks. I would think for me, one benefit that you could, like a next step you could take is just getting like a better mirrorless camera to pair with that Mars unit. So a used Blackmagic Pocket 4K, maybe. You know, depends on your budget. We use Panasonic G7s. Panasonic G85 would be probably my recommendation for you because it has built-in stabilization on the sensor, and then you could pair it with a stabilized lens, like a Panasonic 35-100 f2.8. And you put that on the Mars, and you'll have a much better image that you can go with. Now, you know, that's tough. Your student ministry, you probably don't have a big budget to allocate to cameras and things like this. So you're making stuff work, which I applaud you for. Like this stream is leaps and bounds ahead of what a lot of big churches that I've reviewed. So props to you on that. Like you're using webcams, you're making stuff work. So other things I would think of is it appears to me like maybe the white balance that you're using for all these cameras could maybe be adjusted. If it's not that, it's your front lights that you're using for people and student ministries. You may have cheap RGBWs that you're using to light people, but I'm just a lot of purple, a lot of blue. It seems very cool on the cool side of things that you could warm that. You could warm that up. So directing wise, I mean, yeah, use that roamer. You guys able to communicate? I'm just looking at some of his responses and comments here. Okay. I was interested in that because how are you matching those cameras? So you're doing it in OBS, you're actually delaying it in there. Yeah, it's definitely the cameras. Okay, walkie-talkies were dead. But hey, you're making stuff work. So good job. I think you're well on your way. And yeah, those are my thoughts. So, All right, guys, we have done what, 5? Let's keep going. Let's keep going. It is 12:17, and I have a console that won. So if you have any questions for me, please drop those in the chat today, because I would love to just talk shop a little bit too. I really enjoy getting to do these live stream reviews, but I also I like just talking shop with y'all. All right, so we are going to go all the way back to numero uno. Walnut Hill Community Church, Christopher Ellington. Let's hope I haven't already done this one. They're on a Ross Carbonite Ultra Switcher, 7 cameras, mostly static. They're trying to build up their camera operating team. 2 cinema cameras in the back. I don't know what those are. PTZ. So I wonder what these cinema cameras are. He didn't really say. So let's look at Chris's stream for Walnut Hill Community Church. So like I said, there's like 40 submissions. So if you're here and you're really wanting to be on there, you can super chat.
Campus pastor, and it's such a pleasure to be.
It's a nice looking shot. I like that little setup. Great lower third there.
I'm so glad
great
that you're
sound.
Here. Go ahead and jump in the chat right now.
I wonder if that's pre-recorded or
live. We know that we
live.
have met with you as we engaged in worship together. I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen and amen. Well, welcome again to Walnut Hill Online. Let's worship together.
Pre-record. That's okay. I mean, pre-record's totally fine. There we go.
So let's sing to him. Come on, let's put our hands together. Let's sing to him.
All right, here we go.
Scream it out.
I really like what I'm hearing so far. So you said most of these are stationary cameras. So if this is a stationary camera and it were me and I'm setting it up on my lead vocalist who's on a mic stand, it's not moving, I would want to add more leading space in front of her and put her face and head on the other side of the frame. So further that back that way. It's hard. Everything's reversed. So there's more space in front of her. Drums sound good. Maybe a little more snare. So this shot right here is I'm just not in love with it. Like, it feels like it's kind of like looking down at the drums. I would want to put this more like over his shoulder and maybe a little tighter in there. And so I can still see the band and everybody out through the glass, but this seems a little high and awkward to me. Love the stereo image that you're getting with that mix. Sounds really good. I would say one thing is I haven't seen anybody worshiping at this point. Like, is this a pre-record? Are there people there? And this one I would pick a lane, either come up close on his hands or show his, his head. Okay, I like that down the line. Your cameras all seem to match really well. Okay, there's a few people there that I saw. This medium shot right here looks great. I mean, I almost call that a wide, but I love that. Tough thing about this one is when your lyrics are playing and they're out of sync, since they're the exact same replica, that's a little awkward. See that? When they're like a little delayed, to the screen, which is, that's the way it is. You can't get around that. So that's another reason I'm a fan of having them actually be different looking, a different template for your online stuff. Coloring, to me, as far as I can tell, everything looks really good, spot on as far as I can see. I like the lighting vibes that you're going with. I just wish I was seeing a little more, like you said, it's all static cams, and you're doing a good job of mixing it up and the pacing and all those things. Wait, that's static?
Your presence is an open door. We want you, Lord.
Drums sound great. Vocals sound crispy and good. I just wish there was a roaming person, something else, happening, giving me some more motion. So that is my thoughts. Hopefully you find that helpful. We're about to do some Q&A here for just a second. And next in line will be Doug. Let's go, Doug. Thank you. Christian Family Church. Let's power through some of these Q&As, though, real quick. I'm going to bring these up because I think there's some good questions in here that I probably don't even know the answer to. So Isaiah says, what's your recommendation to get colors matching when using different brands of cameras? Example, Blackmagic and Panasonic. So there may be out there some LUTs or something you can download for those Blackmagic cameras that you can put into them that somebody else has already made, like a color profile to match like the natural color profile in Panasonic's. But my first step would be whenever I was going to have to match cameras in post, what you could do, or not in post, but like mismatched cameras, you're going to obviously try and get them all the same white balance. If you can do Kelvin temperature, that's great. And then any magenta shifting that you need to do in there to try and match those, you can. I would record with them and bring them into post too and mess with them in Premiere, things like that. But setting white balance and then just trying to match tint, having a good representative monitor is helpful when it comes to doing that for sure. If you're like me, you probably have cheap little Scepter monitors that aren't the best for that. So that can be tough for sure. You can look around for LUTs that you could put onto there. I don't know if this is possible, but in post, what I usually do is I use the apply color or apply match function in Premiere. You can actually choose like the source one, and then you can put up your other one, and then you can tell it, like you can actually, the software will match them for you, and then you can take that and make a LUT out of it maybe. I don't know if Resolve DaVinci has that same functionality where maybe you could do that to make them match better. I'm not a Resolve guy, so I don't know. Maybe I've been tempted to get into it because it's free. But what else do you guys do? I mean, we use the color charts as well. Hi, wife. Color charts, color checker passport, sit it on a table. That's helpful too, because that gives you the full spectrum of colors. Co-host, can you put that in the chat? The link to that. All right, thanks. I will use those though for sure whenever I white balance. Probably my favorite thing to do though when I'm setting up cameras. I'm getting too into this. I need to make a video about this. So use my color checker passport. take a photo or video in raw mode, right, of that passport checker, then bring that into either Lightroom or your editing choice of software and use that to develop getting the accurate like color temperature of your white balance and everything, with just your key lights on and all that stuff. So yeah, but matching contrast ratios and gamma and all those pedestals, and just get cameras that are the same. That's what I would say. Sell one of them and go into the same ecosystem. What? That windscreen now? Is that what? Maybe that's what you're talking about, Charles. I don't know. Could have been something else. Maybe it was somebody's mic had like a giant windscreen on it. That's funny. I have a windscreen on one of my mics that I use whenever we're out playing out. It's literally just because I kept hitting it with my teeth whenever I would go to sing. It's just a pad. That's the only reason it's on there. Shop Talk question. I'm using several brands of cameras going into the A10 Mini fed into vMix. I'd like to be able to fine tune the cameras. We just talked about that. That's weird. I don't know anything about vMix though. Sorry. vMix may be able to, it seems pretty fully featured, so that may be able to do that. Matai. How many cameras do you think you must have to film a graduation in a theater? Oh, that's a good question. I've been asked to do graduations before on site, and I have politely declined. It's just too much pressure. I don't like it. I don't like doing weddings either. I would think you would need at least 3. One wide safe shot, one up on the side platform that's getting people walking up to the platform and doing the handshake with the principal or whoever it may be, getting those people, and then another camera center back as well that you can use for a tight shot to bounce between. You usually have key speakers that are giving the valedictorian speeches and all that kind of stuff. So I would say at least 3. So 2 in the back middle that you can bounce between, and then 1 over on side stage or something like that to capture them walking up. That's my initial thoughts. Timothy, I'd love to hear your thoughts on how you build gain structure. For instance, how do you determine what dB level to set the receiver on and the mic, and then go from there? Okay. What do you guys do? Post in the chat. Like if you're setting up a new wireless receiver, this is not scientific. I've only done this a couple times, but starting with a mic, like a wireless mic unit, I think that maybe in the manuals it tells you what you should be initially setting gain structure at. Like on that little, usually inside like a Shure mic, there's like a little knob you can twist with a screwdriver. I feel like it's usually like around 75% up. So don't quote me on that, but I would look at the manual of the microphone and say, what is the best, usually they would tell you what to set it at. From there, the way I like to do it when I'm setting up a new channel on our soundboard to get it to where I need it to be is I'm turning gain all the way down and I'm bringing my fader up to unity. And then here's where that mic would come into play, okay? Or other items. I'm setting it at unity, and then I'm going to bring the gain up to get it to where I need it to be to sound correct in the room. But on our board, the M32 and the X32, you really want to shoot for your levels to hit around -12 to -16 is what I've been told by experts. And so let's say that you are hitting -12, -16, but you're only able to bring the gain up a couple clicks, then you are going to have to go back to the source now and bring that gain back down so that way you can do that. That may be completely wrong. That is just how I do it. And so if you have a better solution, please post in the chat. Yes. Sometimes it's worth it. Just sell what's not working and buy something else. Can you use it? I don't know. I don't have a GoPro 9. for a while there, you couldn't use GoPros, but we saw some streams today where people were using them. You may have to use like it depends on what switcher you're using. Like if you're using an ATEM like this, the ATEM Mini Extreme or something with converters, you can probably get away with it. If you're using an ATEM Studio HD, something that doesn't have converters, sometimes the frame rates are tricky out of those, and then you end up using like a decimator to get it to work. And then at that point, a $350 decimator, you might as well have just bought a camera that's better for the job. We have a couple older Blackmagic cameras, the OGs, and I want to upgrade one. Would we get more bang for our buck to add a Pocket Cinema roamer? I don't have a roamer. Or should we upgrade our main studio camera? You know, the streams I've been reviewing with people and consults that I've done lately with people that have the older OG studio cameras, it seems like they've been pretty unhappy with them. So I always say, I have a video with 10 different, talks about 10 different camera angles you could use for your live stream. And I always say, like, if you aren't happy with the first main 2 shots that you need, which is like a medium head to toe and a tight shot for your main speakers and stuff, if you're not happy with those, that's where you need to start. Don't start adding other bells and whistles too quickly. So I would probably say, if you're happy with the workflow of the studio cameras and having the handle zooms and all that stuff, then the new 4K studio cameras may be a perfect upgrade for you. I'm just not a huge fan of them because of the lens options. But maybe, I mean, I love the roamers and stuff too, but if you're not, it sounds like you're not happy with the other ones. So I would maybe look at upgrading those main cameras first. Hey, great comments in the chat about the GoPros. Thanks, guys. My Hollyland wireless transmitter breaks signal within a 100-meter space. What do you advise? So in my testing of the Hollyland stuff, that's why I was saying earlier I'm not a huge fan of the Hollyland stuff. I've tried the Hollyland 400S and the Hollyland C1s. And for me, they had way too much latency to, like, it was like way more than even advertised, like 120 milliseconds or something like that. It was crazy on the C1s. So I have other videos on my channel about these units, but one thing you can tangibly do to get better results in your space is usually, depending on the Mars system you're using, it's probably on a 5 gigahertz band. And you could go into your Wi-Fi router of your wireless environment that you have at your church and disable that 5 gigahertz band and only run 2.4 inside the worship center. And that might clean up the channels a little bit and help out your Hollyland do better. Now, 100 meters, that's a long ways. You know, I would not expect in a closed building to get that kind of reception. 300 feet away, that's a big ask, even for the higher end stuff. There's just so many walls and things happening that, now if you're just in the same room, yes, you should be able to expect it to usually do pretty good and stick in there. And thanks for joining us from Nigeria. That's so cool. Yeah, Teradek is usually more reliable. If you just want a new model, I recommend still the Teradek Ace 500. It's still my favorite. We use it every week for our roamer and our pastor follow cam, and it is rock solid in our space. And that's another consideration. Like, I'm testing things in our space. That doesn't mean it always translates to everybody else. Hey, let's go. Just down the road? Come on. Watching from Broken Arrow. I'm communication pastor at First Baptist Church BA. My team and I are impressed by what you're doing. Would love to grab lunch. Let's do it. I've done a lot of stuff over there at First BA. First BA is a great church. They have a long history of guys that have come before Brandon even. And I remember back in the day, they were showing me them using red cameras on jibs and things. And just doing all kinds of stuff. So they're a really cool church. Yes, let's get together, Brandon. That would be fun. Okay, let's get to Doug's super chat. Did I already give you the props? I'll go find you here. All right. Doug was Christian Family Church, and we will give him a little review here. I have about 15 minutes left, so I probably only have 2 more reviews, guys. So if you're somebody that really, really needs it reviewed, you can always schedule a consult on my TidyCal that's in the link in the description. If you notice, there's been a few people that got to the front of the line today because they had a secret passphrase that was, "I feel God in this Chili's tonight." If you're an Office fan, the way that they got that was that they were subscribed to my email list. So I will comment below after this live stream ends, the link to subscribe to my email list. I don't email very much. It's just like big videos that are happening, things like letting you know a live stream's happening with a secret passphrase to get in there sooner. So you can do that. Doug, let me find yours. Let's see. You said Christian Family Church. There's probably quite a few Christians in here, so why don't I just search family instead? Oh, I'm on people's names. That helps me none. Oh, Ryland. There we go. There we are, Doug. Doug, no last name. One Sony camcorder. To be honest, I forgot the model because we just got it. Midas M32 coming out, post-fader stereo bus. That's what we do, same board and everything. So, and he wants the most help with audio. So we're not worried that he's only got one camera. Let's listen to the audio. Audio is more important than video, guys. How many of you are like most of the time you got it on in the background, but you're kind of listening more than you're watching? And I think that's more true than we like to admit. Even over our people throwing it up on their TVs at home, watching YouTube, they're probably kind of doing other stuff too. So audio is definitely more important than video.
The true worshipers are here.
Oh wait, we have to watch that again.
The true worshipers
Tuning.
are here.
That's funny. All right, here we go. Let's go forward. Get into the audio here.
Awesome, awesome in this place. Jesus, you are awesome in this place. He's worthy, worthy to be praised. Jesus, you are worthy to be praised. You will be praised. Yeah. Let's praise him. You will be praised.
What are you guys hearing? Sounds like to me you got quite a bit of stereo spread. That's one thing I've learned on our M32 after experimenting quite a bit with the panning of stuff. It seems like if I go pretty far on the panning, it's pretty extreme quickly. So I would maybe pan these vocals not quite as hard. Maybe just do like 15, 20 on each side. Maybe 25, but if you go up to like 50 or more, it starts getting really too far, I feel like. Also, it's weird to me. I feel like I'm hearing the guy on the right in my left ear. I feel like it's getting quieter. I like the stereo spread of your drums, though. I just feel like the vocals are too far apart. Drums could be louder. Yeah, I mean, for one camera, if I were you, I would at least take your camera and lower it down some. Like you're getting, their faces are in the middle of the screen, and typically you want them on the upper third. And you're not utilizing the screen as like your lyrics holder. Like you don't have lyrics on that back screen that you're showing. It's on there like a lower third, but it's an upper third. And I would prefer their faces to be in the top third and the lower third to be the lyrics. Just my opinion. But I kind of know what you're doing there. You're kind of using the motion background as like a background for the lyrics, it almost looks like.
Name of Jesus, come on, lift his name, praise him now. We lift the name of Jesus. Oh yeah, we lift the name of Jesus. Hallelujah. We lift you up, Father. We thank you. We praise your holy name. We praise your holy name.
There you go.
Do you know that praise is a weapon? Isn't that awesome? And it's not hard to do. Hallelujah. Thank you, Father.
Yeah, I would just say your drums need to come up in the mix. I like that you got, electric guitars leading this next song, We Praise You, and you brought them up, and they got that. They're playing great. They got good tone. You got a good band. You got a solid band. The vocalists sound good. I would just maybe use even like on the M32, you could create a subgroup, not a subgroup. You could create a bus for just the vocals if you wanted to do that. And then you could add like a separate, what's the big compressor that everybody likes on the X32, M32? I don't remember which one it is. It's one of those, you could actually use a separate compressor just for the vocal group and maybe help blend these just a little more together. So that's a thought, but yeah, thanks for submitting. We got a couple questions here that we can take. Shop Talk, do you take down the live streams after and post them? And then repost them is what Jason's asking. So no, we really try not to do that. What we do, for a while, what we were doing here at our church at Central was I was going back into the YouTube editor, and we were just trimming off the beginning time and just starting right at our opener video. So that way when someone clicks on the video, it's right there at the beginning. But about 3-4 weeks in a row, every time we would do that, it would make the audio out of sync for like 3 days until it finally processed the audio. In YouTube, it was like it was processing the video, but then the audio would be not processed. And so I've opted just to go back and just do chapter markers. So like we go back in, things we're doing is we're adding custom thumbnails from that day, that service, retitling things, and so, we're going in here, like we were talking about earlier, and just adding these markers to the songs and when the sermon starts, all those kinds of things. So that's how we're doing it. The other nice thing is that you don't lose any of the views that you've gotten on there, any traction you've gotten. The live chat's still on there. Now, I know some people at larger churches are just cutting in, just doing the sermon only. For us, we're not monetizing our YouTube channel, and so we're not worried about that. I'm looking at our services as these are first impressions. Things that can get tricky now is like the times we have gone back and put them in as not live streams. You can see that they show up under the videos tab now because YouTube has updated this, and where you have a shorts tab and you have a live tab. Now, we do have our playlist that if you're subscribed to it, you can go to, our contemporary service playlists and get to it that way. But we try not to, unless something really weird happened with the audio or the stream. We have in the past had times where like maybe the bit rate, something failed on us and it was buffering. And so we'd had to go back and take our recording and repost. So there's that answer for you. And says, do you think it's a good idea to make PTZ camera from Stabilizer and Remote? Is it a good idea? I think it's a great idea. Is it actually working for anyone? Is it actually being implemented in a good way? I've yet to see it in person. You know, the closest thing you're going to get is the Middle Things APCR controller. And so you've got, you know, your gimbal.
Hi, in this video.
Hello. You know, you got your gimbal that you can use a Ronin with a Blackmagic camera, and then he has made it where through software and using these little boxes, there you go, you can basically control with PTZ from a little remote controller a Blackmagic camera on a Ronin. And so he's got these nifty little, you know, control arms and joysticks, and it's a lot of work though. And from the guys that I've talked to that have actually tried this, they've almost been more frustrated than it's worth. So do I like the idea? Yeah, I do. Is anybody else doing it with success? Let me know in the comments if you've tried this and it's worked well for you. Yeah, some good thoughts there in the comments about servo zooms. Okay, guys. I just want to say thank you for those of you that have joined this live stream today. And if you stuck around this whole time and you aren't subscribed, subscribe. Like this video, why not? If you enjoy me doing these kinds of things, let me know, because I'm still in that point in my channel where I'm kind of trying different stuff and just seeing really where I want to take everything. I do want to offer value. That's really what it comes down to. And so if you think these are valuable, then let me know in the comments. I've toyed with the idea, like, should I take these live stream reviews to a more like YouTube members type thing only? Does it cloud up my channel as far as like just the YouTube algorithm type thing? Because live streams, some people have separate channels for that even. So it doesn't hurt your other content and all that. I mean, whatever. Like, I think if I put out good content, hopefully it'll be found and YouTube will push it to the right guys. So thank you. Thank you, Gilbert, for that. I appreciate the encouragement. Matai, thank you, man. That's awesome. Appreciate you, dude. So, yeah, I've got more stuff in the works. Gone next week, but when I get back, it'll be Christmas time. Wow. I usually had Christmas planned by Labor Day at the latest, and I've done 0 so far. Oh my gosh, it's going to be fun though. So hope you guys have an awesome weekend. That church goes great for you. If you're off on Fridays, try to Sabbath as much as you can. Tomorrow, I'm installing a new front door at my house, so I don't know if that counts as Sabbath or not. But all right, guys, remember, we can do a lot of great things. Let's do it all for God's glory. See you in the next one.